Hi, Steve Chrysler here from Bookkeeping Life. Today I want to talk about how to do bookkeeping as a freelance bookkeeper. So the question is, what is bookkeeping? Bookkeeping is tracking transactions, which means tracking every penny, every single penny that comes into a business and goes out of a business. It's tracking that money. It also tracks how much money is owed. So it doesn't necessarily mean that the money is already moved, but money is actually owed. So it could be money that's owed to others or money that's owed to the business. So you're tracking money. Every single penny of a business needs to be tracked. And that's what bookkeeping is tracking those transactions. Every time the money moves or is owed, that is a transaction that needs to be tracked. So that is bookkeeping in its most basic definition. So then the question is what does a freelance bookkeeper do? So obviously from that definition, a freelance bookkeeper would actually track those transactions. And then how does that bookkeeper do that? How does that freelance bookkeeper do that? So in general, a bookkeeper can do a lot of additional things like payroll and collect people's mail for them and go through their mail, actually write their checks, deposit money at the bank and stuff like that. But in general, those are kind of added on bookkeeping services. But in general, just a general bookkeeper is going to track those transactions that a company has. Okay, so what they need to do first is get statements of those transactions from the client, so that they're either going to get their bank and credit card statements one way or the other from, there's a couple different ways to do that, but which I won't go into right now, but you want to get those transactions from the client so that they can record those transactions. So you're going to get the transactions from the client so that you can record those transactions into software. Then in that software, you're going to put them into categories. So you're going to get the statements, get the list of transactions, take that list of transactions, put it into software, into categories. And the categories are things such as income, money coming in, money going out, could be like for supplies, equipment, wages, meals, travel, all those types of different categories that you've probably heard of already. So that's the categories for the transactions. So you have all these transactions, they need to be tracked, track them in software, you put them in the categories, and once they're in those categories, you can generate reports out of that software. So you've got all these nice categories filled up with the transactions. You can generate reports out of the software, and the software does this automatically. It'll create profits and losses, balance sheets, all kinds of different reports, all just a couple clicks of the mouse. So you don't have to know how to create all those. The software does that already. So that's what is bookkeeping and what does a freelance bookkeeper do, right? Now, why is this being done? The question of why. It really comes down to a couple things. One, the business owners need to be able to make wise business decisions. They need to be able to determine if the business is profitable. They need to be able to, if it's really making money. A lot of business owners think they're making all kinds of money, but they don't, because they see a lot of money coming in, but they're really unaware of their expenses. So I've found that most people are really aware of how much money they make, but they're not aware of how much money they spend. So this helps the business owners see that full picture and make wise business decisions. They need to be able to set aside money for taxes. The reports are extremely beneficial to and necessary for a tax preparer to take that information and prepare taxes off of that information. So bookkeeping is a mandatory business activity. A business has to have bookkeeping in order to not only make wise business decisions, but to be able to do taxes too. But it also helps the business make decisions as far as putting money into retirement for themselves and their employees, to scale the business, buy necessary stuff, new equipment, that kind of stuff for the business, supplies for the business, when they can make these purchases and not go in the negative. So all this information is extremely important for the business owner, for wise business decisions and paying taxes and doing tax returns. So that's what is bookkeeping, what does a freelance bookkeeper do, and why it's all done. So hopefully it answers those big questions.